Hello everyone. Are you able to hear me? Hello everyone. Are you able to hear me? If you can just confirm that. Okay, I think yes. Thank you so much, students, and good evening. My name is Shalini Kapoor. I am an IBM Fellow, and I am also the CTO for our AI labs that we have. I'm in Bangalore. I'm based here, and we work a lot on AI technologies. And today I'm going to talk about some of the AI technologies which go into enterprises. I'm going to talk about AI in business, and I'm going to mention some of the technologies that we use across use cases in various segments. So let me start my presentation, and so I will be decreasing my my slides will be coming up. So please just give me a minute so that I can bring up the slides. Yeah, hope you are able to see my slides well now. And I'm going to talk about AI infusion in applications. So let's get started. And so what is AI infusion? What do we mean by AI infusion? Today, enterprises, and when I say enterprises, I mean all the businesses. All of you are students today, but you will be working, or you'll be researching with enterprises. At the ultimate aim of any researcher or any student is to work in a business and have a work on AI technologies which you have learned during your studies and apply it. So AI infusion is about application of AI technologies in businesses. Now, what are the issues which trouble us? That the issues which are there for AI, there are a lot of people who believe in the promise of AI. There are a lot of people who have the fear of AI, uh, and we are going to talk more in detail about that. And then there are a certain segment of people who are confused about AI. So when people, and let's take one by one. So when it is promise of AI, there is a lot of discussion about enterprises, like for example, Big Basket today, and I don't know if you're aware of Big Basket. It is a grocery shopping site. They use recommendation engine, and they use AI to recommend the set of groceries that you need to buy, and similar for Flipkart. And where they are, suggesting you what you should buy. So there is AI being used. There is AI being used in a very small startup in Gurgaon called Blue Sky, which is actually capturing the data about all the forest, all the fires which are happening in Punjab, which is leading to air pollution in Delhi. So they do they do capture a lot of images from satellite, and it's a satellite data, and that is being used to actually and deep analysis is done on those to say that which why it is causing the air pollution. There is AI being used in by another startup, and maybe you have heard about it, is Nirmai.ai, who is using it to, without any intervention, without any x-ray, they can predict breast cancers in women. So the promise of AI is very strong, and the promise of AI makes people believe that it can solve problems for us. There are you can predict fashion, some of you would be knowing brands like Vero Moda. So Vero Moda the company's name is Bestseller, and they are using AI to predict what fashion teenagers would like to, or young population would like to wear, based on your past purchase behavior, and also what is there in fashion in the industry, and based on that they predict. So there is so much of promise of AI which is present, and AI has done a lot of a lot. It has crossed a lot of boundaries today. We have Project Debater, and Project Debater has been put up by IBM, where an AI system can debate and give counter arguments. And imagine, the kind of fake news that we have in that kind of a scenario. If an AI algorithm can interpret that, what is the right argument, what is the right logic, what is the right statement that need to be said. So that's the promise of AI. But still there is a lot of fear of AI, and the fear of AI is because people think it's some super intelligent thing that will take control of us. And it has been circulated a lot by the entire the science fiction that we talked about, which is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong about it, but there is a lot of fear in terms of how can we give control to AI. Imagine, I don't know if you know about the trolley problem. So the trolley problem says that a trolley is coming down a hill, and it has and you have the power to divert the direction of the trolley. The trolley has is going to, and on the way of the trolley down there is a baby in a pram. And if you want to divert the trolley away and save the baby, but the trolley will go and hit five old men. So whom do you want to save? Do you want to save the baby, or do you want to save the old five men? And if it is not you, if it is an AI algorithm deciding this whole thing, then what should the AI algorithm do? What if you are sitting inside say a large luxurious car, and the AI has to take a decision for an accident to save you or the person who has come in front of the car? Whom should the car save? So the AI algorithm, so you are giving control, you're giving a lot of power to the AI algorithm and that's where the fear of AI comes in, because how you should program it, it's humans who are programming it. So in which favor should it be? So that's where the fear of AI comes in. And then there is confusion of AI, right? There are so many people who are confused about AI. What tools? What is AI? What do you mean by AI? What is the difference between AI and machine learning? What's the difference between deep learning, data science? What are the tools? Why there are so many frameworks? Which framework should I use? Um, so so there is a lot of confusion on the products, the services, the technologies, the infrastructure, whether I should use AI for this process, whether or not. So there is a lot of confusion on AI. So the accepting of AI in businesses gets delayed if the fear and confusion are more, and the promise is there, but until and unless all these things are seen in one perspective, the accepting of AI doesn't happen. So today I'm going to talk about that how enterprises, how businesses see AI, and what is AI infusion. So AI infusion is basically demystifying AI. You demystify what AI is. You remove the confusion, and you make it easier for businesses to adopt, to reuse, and to scale, and realize value of AI through defined outcomes. Which means lot of businesses are just doing proof of concepts of AI. Something has come out in the market and they are not able to scale it. So it's not just the adoption and finding out what business process will be best suitable for AI. How do you reuse it across various businesses? How do you scale it to a different level and then realize the value of AI through very defined outcomes? This is what I want to achieve out of using AI, and that's how the businesses should be able to achieve it. So let's get deeper into this. And as we all know that AI will help power the next phase of decision making and profitability. And it's a very big business. It's going to generate 2.9 trillion in business value. So the promise of AI is definitely very big. Now, when we say AI for business, now businesses already have a lot of data. They already have. So if you take any manufacturing unit, you take any retail business, you take any healthcare business, there is already data of the business. That's what the business is about. They have a lot of data, and what they want to do is they want to create new markets for themselves. The businesses want new business models. So a new business model could be that, opening a new market, getting starting a new product line, and the businesses want to automate their decisions, right? So what happens is that, suppose it's an insurance claim business, right? So an insurance claim comes, somebody verifies it, goes, it does it manually. Now if the same thing becomes millions of claims, then it's impossible for a human being to solve it, right? The whole ad industry, if you see that, on the ad imprints are 1 billion imprints that you get. As many as number of humans you throw at it, you won't be able to solve the problem as to which ad should come and what should be the priority of the ad. So so this is this so this part is extremely important. So how do we optimize people to do higher value work? Now that is also what enterprises are grappling with, and they want to know that if there is uh, uh, if there is a mechanism in which they can ask people to do higher value work and maybe leave the the run of the mill things to the AI programs, then that's what they want. So and enterprises, if they don't do that, they'll be wiped out, right? So an automotive company, if they don't bring out, say, electric cars, if they don't automate their processes, I mean, there is Uber. There is who's going to take that all away, because Uber is an AI born company. So you have to you have to generate new value in your business. The e-commerce business is the entire retail business is like that. So you have to the enterprises have no choice. They have to adopt AI if they are looking for cost savings, if they're looking for more revenue. Now, how do they put AI to work for business? They do it one use case at a time, which means enterprise has got so many businesses, right? There would be use cases in marketing, in finance, and so they should take one by one, and they already have the data, right? So you unlock the data and you break down the silos, and then you have skills. Because if you don't have a skill, if you don't have a collaborative team, and you don't have a data science team, and that's a different thing. The enterprises might not do it. They might just buy data science team, or they might go to implementators or system integrators or consultants who can provide that. But the idea is, you need a use case, you need data. You cannot do anything without data. You need skills, and you need tools, right? What are the latest technologies that are present? What are the techniques that have to be there? And once you have done this, it should happen in a manner that there is trust on that, right? So if if you don't have a trust in the new AI process, you will do away with it, right? So if you know, if tomorrow Flipkart knows that this recommendation engine will not work and it is not giving the right recommendations, and if the recommendations coming to you and you are like, why is I'm buying oil on this, and why is it giving me recommendation to buy a cap? There is absolutely no relation between it, right? So the trust in the system of why that recommendation works. I mean, doesn't it feel good that you buy a book on Amazon and then you get a recommendation which is similar, kind of, because it is able to make out that your interests are in, say, socio-political area, and it is able to give you another book in that space. So it's really important that you have trust in the system, and you need to have it in agile manner. And agile manner is a process in which you can reiterate, you can iterate on the use case development, you can repeat that process, and you win by introducing AI. So to accelerate AI, you need to have all of this. You need to identify the use case, you have the right data, unlock it, have the skills, tools, and ensure that it builds tools. Now enterprises are doing a lot of things. Now where are the enterprises? Which stage they are in? If you ask me, enterprises, they started with when I say enterprise, I'm saying all businesses. Some industries do better than the other. Like in the retail industry, the adoption of AI has been really strong. In the industrial and manufacturing, it is still picking up. Some of the automotive and all, it is still high, but regular manufacturing and all, it is still picking up, and it is taking time to get there. If we take say healthcare, it has been implemented at a lot of places, especially in cancer research and microbiology and genetics. There is a lot of usage. But how even daily cancer detection, there are startups which are doing that. But is it on a regular? I mean, can your doctor take a help of an AI process to say what symptoms you are suffering from and what the disease might be? Now, how much is it rampant? No, it is not as much, right? So every industry does it in a different manner. The And today, if you see, most of the companies, they have done operational, they have data warehouse, they have data lakes, they have been able to do analytics. So they have done analytics, but insight driven and generating new business models, everybody is not there. Even though you will, and you are students, you will see a lot of good AI models, but when you get into the corporate sector, or in the academia sector, or in the research sector, you will see that there is a long way to go for AI adoption for enterprises. So it's a big strategic opportunity. There is a lot of room for growth, and there are a lot of things which can be done. So let's see how we can do that. So I'll introduce a concept called AI ladder, right? So how is it a ladder? Ladder is one rung and over the above, over each and above, right? So let's understand, and this is an approach for journey to AI. Like if an enterprise wants to follow a journey to AI, then the AI ladder is going to help them. So let's start at the bottom. What is at the bottom? At the bottom is data, like what I talked about in the previous slides. If you don't have data, and if you are not able to collect the data, so very simple, the most important thing is you should be able to collect the data. The data could be structured, unstructured. It could be in the form of in your systems, in your claim. It could be in form of handwritten notes. It could be in form of in your databases. It could be in form of social media tweets. It could be in the form of what is sitting in a pneumatic machine, for example. It could be a purchase order, it could be invoices, it could be bills, it could be anything, right? But how do you make the data simple and accessible? And then the next part is you organize the data, right? If you don't organize the data, you don't create an analytic, the data lake. How do you clean the data? How do you, the data might be noisy in nature. Noisy means that it might have a lot of missing data values, and some data might not be correct. So you have to clean the data. You have to build a trusted data source. So that part is called the organizing of the data. And the next is that you have insights. You start analyzing the data, and you say that these are the insights. So for example, these are the anomalies that I see in the data. So for example, in an office at any point of time, there are 200 people. Suddenly one day there are 500 people in the office. That's an anomaly. Why is it that there are 500 people in the office? Maybe my super boss is visiting, that's why there are 500 people in the office. Or maybe there is a town hall, or there is a big meeting, that's why there are more people in the office. So anomalies, and why anomalies happen. It could be same for a machine, that a machine gives a temperature and a humidity on a regular basis, and suddenly that machine's temperature goes up by 20 degrees. Now that's a sign of failure. The machine might fail because maybe some nut and bolt is not working, and it's an anomaly. So how do you drive insights, anomalies, and how you analyze the data? That's important. And then the last stage is infusion. So infusion is when you create a new process, you have understood how AI will solve it, and you are able to embed it in some of your existing applications or your business process. When I say embed, it starts working with you in your system. It starts working, you start understanding, and people start deriving value of it. I'll explain it a bit more in the next slide, which talks about the patterns of AI infusion. So on the left hand side, if you see, these are existing enterprise applications. So an existing enterprise application, as think about it like like any application. It could be your library application. It could be an application to receive customer calls. It could be an application for loans processing. It could be an application for credit card application. So an existing enterprise app is there, and the way you infuse AI is you find out what could be the new processes that you can change. For example, there could be a machine which is running, and when a machine runs, a mechanical engineer stands next to the machine, and they know how the machine has to operate, right? They know all the controls, they know how to operate the machine. But suddenly the machine starts making a lot of noise, right? If it is making a lot of noise, the mechanical engineer knows, because they know the inside that maybe the oiling wasn't done, maybe the machine is going to break down today, right? But can an AI now, suppose that mechanical engineer is not sitting next to it, or is not aware of that sound, that sound is being made, and he or she is not present there, then what happens? So an AI process can listen to the sounds, the audio output of the machine, and compare it with similar audio of the machine earlier on, and it can predict that this sound, this kind of a sound, conveys that there's going to be a machine failure. Or the same thing could be done by a camera visually, right? So this is a new process which has got discovered. It wasn't there, right? Up till now it was just common sense of common sense, and what people on the shop floor are understanding. But now there is a new process which is basically mining all the audio outputs of the machine, comparing it historically with all acoustic samples that are present there, and saying, hey, there is an anomaly. So you can identify defect in your assets, in your machine, and this is a new process. Now this process, if it is attached to an existing application, the application becomes AI enabled. Suddenly an old application which was just automating, and it was just a software development and automation, there is an AI prediction model added to it, and that's how it becomes AI infused. Now many times there could be old processes which are reinvigorated. Reinvigorated means re-energized, right? So what happens is, there are applications like, if you enter any office, or even your college, right? You have badging cards. You can swipe, and you can enter an access control, and people know that you are inside the premises. So at any point of time, it is known that in a building how many people are there, in a floor how many people are there, in a section how many people are there, because you have badged, and you have gotten, and you have swiped your card. Now this process of badging, if we re-energize it, and instead of badging, we also have occupancy sensors inside, so we know at any point of time how many people are there, and very accurate. Occupancy sensors can do it in a very accurate manner, because in badging, you come and you go. Sometimes there is a confusion. There might be double counting. You come into from one door, you go out of the other door from the building. There could be errors. So imagine that we re-energize the process by putting occupancy sensors and energy sensors. So what you can do is, based on the occupancy, we know the amount of carbon dioxide one person emits. So based on the number of people in a building, you can actually find out that what is the energy consumption as of now, and what you can even predict using an AI model, that what will be the energy consumption, say in the afternoon or say in the evening. So now what you've done is you've re-energized the whole process. You added a little bit of more sensors, and you have a new AI model to predict the energy consumption of the building. Imagine how much help it can give to a building which is, which has a huge bill, electricity bill, and the bill can be reduced because they know that there is going to be occupancy. And what happens is in the entire air conditioning is switched on based on the number of people. So if there are less number of people, they actually switch off the ACs, right? Because why waste energy? So there is so much of wastage of energy which can be saved if you just bring in AI model in this space. Now, other way of infusing AI is that, that you would have heard a lot, basically the chatbots, right? It opens up a new channel altogether, right? Whether it is in retail, whether it is you want to chat. I mean, even for COVID-19, we have a Watson Assistant chatbot, which basically answers a lot of questions to us. So it's a new channel. So it can just open up a new channel. And the last pattern is about unlocking the data. So there's so much of data, right? Can you find patterns? For example, just for a machine, there are so many asset manuals, there are so many manuals, and something is going wrong with the machine. What if there is a discovery service which can scan all the manuals and say this is the problem? If the beep sound is coming, then this is what it can do, right? So that's the unlocked data part of it. So there are broadly, whatever AI thing you take up, it will fall into these four patterns. If you think something doesn't fall into these four patterns, please reach out to me and let me know, because it could be a combination of two of them, three of them, but most of the AI processes fall into these four patterns. And I'll be very happy to hear from you if you can tell up if there is anything which is not falling into these patterns. Okay. So let's get into the next part, that once you've done this, and what is the methodology? What is the methodology? And this is the methodology which we follow in our organization. Some of these terms might be more IBM centric, so apologize for that, but this is what I know and what I use, so I want to share that with you. So let's say that we pick each offering. Offering is consider it as an application or a product, right? So for example, Maximo is a product in my organization, which is for asset management. When I say asset management, machines, oil rigs, it could be even all the computers in your data center, they are also asset, right? A computer is also an asset. The seat is the chair I'm sitting on, that's an asset, right? So it could be any asset. You identify the first problem. What do you mean by problem? In the sense, you find out a process where AI can help. There is, and this is the most important part, because if you do not cannot brainstorm about this, and you do not have the right use case as to why AI will solve this problem, then then it will be of no value. In fact, um, I was talking to the chief data scientist in Flipkart, and he said that at the start of the process, at the start of any AI project, they first check that what value it will bring to the end customer. If the AI doesn't bring value to the end customer, they don't pick it up. They don't do that AI project. Then you choose the right. So we choose the Watson services, and this means any service, any AI service, any open source service for natural language understanding, for chatbot, for discovering, for any of the AI service you need to pick up. You can use standard tools, processes. You can have a lot of open source tools to be used here. You can use the framework. You want to program in R, you want to program in Python, you want to use a Keras, you want to do TensorFlow. You can pick up, and also you should at this point of time think about the runtime environment. That build of AI is very easy. You can build with various tools, but then how do you deploy, and what will be the runtime so that it becomes a scalable model? That's what you need to think, right? Then you pick the right skills, of course. I mean, if you are using Python, then you have to have a Python programmer. If you're using R, person is, are the people, do they know PyTorch? Do they know TensorFlow? You have to find out that. And then you prototype the solution, right? You prototype with and then play back to stakeholders. Means the people who want, the business guys, the stakeholders are the business guys who came out with the AI problem. You have to tell them that this is what this problem will solve for you. If it's a recommendation engine, if it is then you play back and say this is the recommendation. If there is an image comparison that you are doing, and you're doing visual recognition, say, of an object, and saying, hey, this is a defect in a car handle. So you play back and say, my confidence score of my AI model is going to be 89%. It's going to predict that there is a defect in the car handle. So how do you play back, and how do you go back to your stakeholders to talk about it? That's important. Many times there are rules. So so if the no need to there's a lot of confusion, and I'll not get into that right now, but there's a lot of confusion. Rules based systems and AI systems, both are very different, right? So don't try to replace rules based systems with AI based system. Embed human experience, most important, right? The learning will come if you embed human experience. So the learning is very important. And reuse and repeat for more problems, right? So you may go back and start doing it for some other use case. So I'm not focusing so on the right hand part of it, because that's a lot of our Watson services, but that's okay. You can pick any service in the market. So AI infusion is happening. This is just explaining that we have another set of application called Tririga, which is in building and facilities domain. We discover new process, we reinvigorate old process, we bring in energy optimization, space optimization. We build models, test them, deploy them, visualize them, monitor them, retrain them, and we get a new AI infused application, right? So the same software developed application has become an AI application because we added two processes into it which were AI enabled. So you need not throw away your existing applications and say, hey, this is bad because it is not AI enabled. You can take your old legacy applications and add onto it. And that's how most of the businesses are. They cannot replace what they already have in place. So these are some of the building blocks. I'll skip this. You can discover them anyway on IBM Cloud. So this is the AI model lifecycle. Some of you would have seen this. This is a general data science life cycle that we follow, which is that you build the model, which basically you create the machine learning model, you perform data analysis, you create the predictive problem, you process the data. During the processing of the data, you have to clean it, you have to aggregate it, you have to do feature engineering, you have to find out what are the patterns in the data. You create the predictive model, and then you convey the results. Then all your data is some of your data is used for training and testing. All the data cannot be only testing or only training, or and a playback mode. You have to keep some data, so you need to do the testing with the model. You deploy the model. Here we are using Watson machine learning service to deploy the model. Data prep is very important, like what I said. You visualize it. So visualization is very important. So many times design is not considered well. So AI models are made by data scientists, but consumed not by data scientists. Consumed by like a shopper. You and me are the consumers. For whether it is Alexa or whether it is we are the consumers. So the visualization, the AI is consumed by users, by a storekeeper, by a space planner. Like in our product Tririga Building Insights, it's a space planner. The person who decides how people have to sit in a floor, that is the person who decides, who visualizes and who sees what AI output is coming to that person. A shop floor, a reliability engineer, they are the people who are consuming AI. So the visualization is very important, and many people forget design, the need of design. And I would reiterate that design is a very big field, And another upcoming field is the AI for no, design for AI. How do you design for AI systems? So this is a very important piece, and if this is not done, all the great algorithms will fail, and all the adoption will fail if the design and the consumption is not good. The next is a monitor. You find out what is the quality of your model which is running. Is it being accepted by people? Are people using it? Are people finding it relevant? Is the data which it is consuming? So what happened in one of my project, we were doing building energy optimization for Big Bazaar. So in Big Bazaar, there are big bazaars across the country, right? And they want to know how can they save energy in every store, right? So what time should they switch on the AC? And some of the ACs have to be always on, like the refrigeration, right? Otherwise you won't like stale food. uh, and some of the time, the crowds are less, afternoon the crowds are less, so they can bring down their AC consumption. We had a model, but we had trained it using our building, our IBM's location, Bangalore buildings data. But we had to do, when we applied the same model for big bazaars, we felt that, when new data came in, which is big bazaar data, the model started behaving in a different manner. So we had to retrain the data, retrain the model. We had to, rethink about it. And we understood that the thresholds for big bazaars are different, for our offices are different, the timing, the retail versus an office location, there are changes, but essentially the base model was pretty much the same. We have to do the monitoring and retraining, and it should feed into your build of the model. So how do we start? The issues are a lot, and I just want to. I have another 6-7 minutes before I get into question answers. So I want to bring out another part which a lot of you think about, which is skills. That we know processes, we can transform processes. There are tools, but what do we do with the skills? What are the skills that I should do? So. Most important thing is that you should be able to identify what the first thing, if you see on the left, what is the persona. See, in an AI world, we need multiple roles. Everybody cannot be a data scientist, right? With For data scientists you need math background, but everybody need not be. You can be a data engineer, you can be a data architect. So there are multiple roles which you can do, and based on that, first you have to identify what is a persona. Do you want to be a developer, or do you want to be into um, um, creation of an AI, right? So you want to be a product manager. Maybe you want to be a product lead who understands AI. Maybe you are just a design person, so you still need to understand AI. So based on your skill, right? And AI is not only for mathematicians. Please note that AI is not just only for mathematicians or for statistics or for data scientists. AI is even for a humanities person, because how AI is going to be applied, how AI is going to be consumed, how AI is going, what services are going to be implemented. There are so many things into that, and based on that, you should choose your learning path. You should choose your courses, and and every course will have. You should be able to identify: is it an entry level course, is it a foundation course, or is it a practitioner course? And some of you can do all three. Some of you can just stay at a entry level. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Finalize what your learning platform is, and then talk to people about it, right? You have to amplify. You have to say, I am a designer certified in for AI, or I am a developer who knows how to build AI applications, or I am a person who understands AI for business, that how it can be applied to the business. All skills are needed in the enterprises. My organization hires all kinds of all types of all these people. So, journey to AI, you have to do three things. You have to do your persona. It's pretty much the same thing which I talked about. You can be a developer, you can be a data engineer, you can be an architect, you can be a data scientist, you can be a manager, you can be a project manager, dev manager. Multiple roles are there, and based on that, you build your learning path, and then you whatever your learning path, you should have some project in which you can apply it, which means even if you are a manager, even if you are a project manager, you should be able to manage an AI project. You should know what is the life cycle of an AI project, how the model, test, develop, monitor, that whole cycle which I talked about, how that works. How if you're a data engineer, how data has to be collected, clean, what is data quality, how data cleansing happens, all that you have to see. So the application part of it, irrespective of your role, is important. Some roles which I talked about, I think a lot of you might be interested. That if I'm a data architect, what language tool, what are the skill and talent, what is the mindset. So if you see, data scientists are PhDs, but then not necessarily. I have data scientists who are not PhDs also. I do have data scientists in my team. There are UI developers. I have not written much in detail because there are so many technologies and UI developers. They are needed. So many developers and I'm sorry. So many developers and UI folks are needed for, and these skills are pretty much known, so that's why I didn't populate it. And they're very same for whether AI or other. But data architect, data engineers, please note, model testers. These are all needed in the AI project. So if there is an AI project, say of 15 people, just two will be data scientists. Rest all will be data analyst, data architect, engineer, UI developers. So imagine the number of the amount of need in AI projects for other roles. One last slide which I want to cover, which is, and this is my pet project. Some of you might be from CBSE schools, and I'm working with the CBSE board and with Government of India to put AI curriculum framework for all the schools for 11th and 12th. So 11th and 12th can choose from coming year onwards AI as a vocational course, which they can, as a subject for in their 11th and 12th. And this is not restricted to only computer science or math students. We have made it sure that the curriculum is AI for all, which means a humanities student, a commerce student, they can pick up AI as a course. And we have been doing hackathons in various schools nominated by CBSE board, and the hackathon is about AI for Better India. Most of you are in colleges, so but I just wanted to talk about this, that because you would have seen the journey. AI is going to be used, and AI is going to be rampant even at school level. So this is at 11th and 12th level, and we have enabled principals, we have enabled teachers, so that they understand AI and they are able to talk to their students about AI and bring it into the mainstream. So I'll pause here. Pretty much that's what my slides are about, and I'm open for questions and anything that you want to know about. So do I see the questions in the chat window, or how do I get to know the questions? Okay, I think there is a Google form link and there are questions there. Let me just click on the Google form link and see what the questions are. I'm just trying to see how to get the questions. If you can just hold on. Okay, I have the questions and I'll be taking some questions. So some people have asked what is Agile, right? So Agile is a methodology, and you can and a lot of corporates are following it. Where Agile is a methodology, it's a way of team organizing themselves for software development, and it is used a lot. It is focused on, it brings in better productivity, and it brings in better planning, better delivery, and it is continuously improving our processes. So IBM is following it a lot, where we are actually, we have to undergo a training to become agile professionals, and there are some of the people who are trained into in agile methodology. So it's a methodology for the development of software, and it's very iterative in nature. It's not the normal software development life cycle, the waterfall process methodology. Okay. Mm, I'm seeing more questions. Um, So that's one good question is how to select the appropriate model, as we find multiple models with good results on data sets they use, but on actual data the result is different. So it's to choose when time is really short. This is by Dilip from Chennai. So this is a very good question. I think the choosing the right model, this has to be done. First of all, you have to see whether you're doing supervisory model, it's you want to you want, it's unsupervised learning that you want to do, it's a reinforcement learning, is it a deep learning. So first of all, you have to categorize your problem as that, and then you will find, so actually the core models or core algorithms, a lot of them are already written. Of course, there is a lot of research also happening, but you should pick the 2 or 3. If it's a random forest model, you should use your data and see that how does it react with that, how does it behave with that, and with that you will come to know that whether are the prediction results okay, and do it with varied set of data sources. That's why amount of data is important. AI is very data hungry, it just consumes data like anything. So it's important that you choose models and see that which model is behaving and giving better output, and that is, so there is some experimentation which has to be done with your set of data. That's how you need to do it. I'm just seeing. So there is one person who says, I have 10 years of experience on ERP. I am self data science currently. What is the path to pursue fellow research and AI? I want to switch into education and research area. This is somebody from New Jersey. His name is Abdul Rahman. So actually, good that you have ERP experience, because the whole inventory, the bomb, and this whole part, that understanding is very much, that's a domain knowledge that you have. And industry 4.0 and supply chain, these are two areas which need AI immensely. So what you should do is, you should, if you, and especially if you want to do research in AI, please look at supply chain and operations management, these areas. There are so many interesting problems. It's all, how the supply chain behaves, what is the demand, how you manage inventory. There are we So we have a software called Sterling software, and you should Google up on it. That Sterling software is a supply chain software, and it is for people who are managing huge inventory, demand side problem, supply side problem, logistics, warehouses. How can you optimize this entire thing so that stock out doesn't happen, so that the bill of material receives comes on the right times. So there are predictive models, there are prescriptive models, there are optimization models. There is so much of AI in this space that I would strongly encourage that, Abdul, you should have, and you should look at research opportunities in supply chain optimization areas. Okay, I'm trying to see more questions. I see another question which is from Pune. How is AI used in applications of mechanical engineering problems of core industries, by Mahesh from Pune? So again, a very relevant question, and this also, so a lot of mechanical engineers are looking at two things. One is uh, uh, the use of robots in the machine, in the industry is increasing a lot. So robotic arms and how they can help is one area. Optimization of in the factory, and the factory of the future. Factory of the future talks about that how you can apply on an assembly line, right? Assembly line, when a car is getting manufactured, there are quality checks which need to happen. Like for example, a Maruti is getting a car is getting made. There are quality checks about the quality of the handle, the quality of the tire, the quality of the body. Visual inspection, which is an AI service, can, instead of people looking at the paint and the body and everything, there are could be cameras, and visual inspection service is available today, which does this activity, and AI can be applied. So as a mechanical engineer, you should know that how AI can solve problems for you on the shop floor. And again, industry 4.0 and mechanic and supply chain are areas which mechanical engineers should look at. Um, then there is a question in. So how relevant is field of AI, data science, machine learning for a person in non-computer science background if she wants to switch career to these fields? This is from Chandigarh, Rohtash. Like what I talked about, design is one area. You are non-computer science background, but you need to understand how the systems are designed. You should understand the applications of AI. You need not know how a machine learning algorithm can um, need to be developed or coded, but you should know what is the application of that. So there are even sometimes people like language, English language, humanities student, and there was also a question I saw on humanities. Even a humanities person, conversation, how do you converse today? How do you converse with, say, Siri or Alexa, or any other application? The conversation creation is also a part which needs to be done by, say, students of English language or students of humanities, because that is also helping into an AI project. Because a person who's designing a system has to find out that this is the right conversation which needs to be built in. So the conversation specialists are also needed, and they are non computer science background people. Designers and project managers, testers, learning framework, right? There are a lot of, so humanities students understand the learning framework, how a human mind learns. The human mind learns at various levels. Building AI, uh, using AI, say, to discover how a child learns. you can find out the learning pattern and the learning outcomes of a child, and there could be an AI model working at the back end. But as a humanities student or as a language student, you can help work with a data scientist in explaining them that whole concept, right? And similarly, there was a question on mental health. So we were building a chatbot for a mental health and for people who are undergoing depression. So to build that kind of an application, you need data scientists, but you also need people, psychologists. What is the right psychometric test to be designed so that it can feed into an AI model? So it's a hand in hand work between a data scientist and a humanities student, because I saw there is a question also by Shreya Sarkar from Kharagpur who's about humanity. So that's why I'm trying to address these two, three questions. Um, so some of the courses people asked about courses. There are a lot of courses available on. There are IBM courses also available on Coursera. There are a lot of courses. We have launched a free thing called P-Tech. P dot tech TECH, and these are all free courses on various aspects. Just to build a chatbot or AI, especially during COVID times and remote learning. A lot of people are doing so. Where and there is somebody else also from New Delhi, Anita Mahajan, who's saying that any link where class 12 plus students can find mini doable projects. So PTech is one of the sites where you can go and you can get some projects. I see more questions on production planning process by Siva Sundari and mechanical engineer. I think I have addressed this. I have seen HR professional of 18 years industry experience, and there's lady called Charu who has asked this question from New Delhi. I think for the HR professionals again, a lot of corporates are designing systems. How to interpret? See, we get so many resumes. How do we know which resume is right for what role? There's an AI methodology, an AI process which can find out the fitment of a person's, what they have done as a course project and fitment to a role in our organization. So we use AI even for a hiring, we use AI for recruitment, we use AI in our HR process transformations. So the people who are in HR, they need to understand how AI is benefiting them. You need not know how to code, not necessarily everybody needs to know how to code, but you need to understand that how it is transforming HR processes and in talent, skills. So the what our skills are. The skill map is a full ontological model which you can create, or a skill map of people, right? So even common problems like today I was actually reviewing a hackathon of lot of women engineers who had created hacks, and I saw a lot of hacks people had created on migrant laborers. Somebody's a cook, somebody's a gardener, somebody's a security guard. They have skill sets and they are ready to do other kinds of jobs. So how do you do job matching for different skill sets of people? So there's a big ontological model, and you can apply AI algorithms to solve this scenario. So HR has a very big area. Um, so I think we are so I'll just take one last question because we are done with the time. I have a question from someone who says, I am from an electrical engineering background. How AI can be used in energy, utilities, and electrical assets? This is from Madurai by G. Karthik. So Karthik, very good question. And there is so much of work we have done in energy and utilities. So energy and utilities, I'll give, there are many examples, right? So if you have to lay the power line, you have to do the distribution. What is the right, can you predict and can you do vegetation? I mean, sometimes you have to remove certain trees to lay a power line, right? So you don't want to remove trees just like that, right? It's not good for the ecosystem. So we can have models to predict that where the vegetation is less, you can take your power line from that area, right? Similarly, assets, electrical assets, they are so big. Their downtime is a cost which the organization has to bear, and the average use. So a transformer has a life, and once the transformer's life is over, you have to replace it with a new. Now, transformer is a very expensive equipment, so the maintenance of that and predicting the failure. So failure prediction is a very big. There are so many algorithms that we actually have made in IBM, and we work with a lot of customers for failure prediction of assets. And this is one very big area, and you should search on energies and utilities on the IBM site, and you will find a lot of products actually in this area. I think there is one last question, maybe how AI is helpful in IoT. I'm picking this up because I work in IoT area also and AI area also, and this is by Jani Dilip from Dahod. Very good area, and IoT is a data collection mechanism, right? Whether you occupancy sensor is giving you data, and asset like what the electrical engineering student asked, an asset gives temperature data, humidity data. These are all IoT sensors in all these assets. So IoT is an area where you are collecting the data. AI is using that huge amount of data and applying artificial intelligence and prediction and prescriptive and optimization models to it. So it's a very good confluence. AI and IoT work together hand in hand. So uh, thank you, students. It's been a great interaction, and I would pause here now. And please, any questions, I'll have a look at them, and I'll see if somewhere we can answer that. But great, and it's been a great session talking to each one of you, and I really enjoyed the session. Thank you. Have a nice day, and all the best in your careers. All the best in AI. Thank you. Bye.